Around 8:15 last night, we had a patrol sergeant who was headed toward Keystone here on Blanding Boulevard when a suspect vehicle, what appears to be at this point a full-size F-250 truck, appears to be somewhat jacked up or raised, pulled through the intersection and struck our deputy head-on. That individual then fled the scene, leaving the deputy sitting in the middle of the intersection. Thankfully, some citizens, individuals who were in cars nearby, got out, rendered aid to that deputy, and was able to stay with him and take care of him until public safety got there. Fortunately, the deputy was transported to the emergency room, was just released a couple of hours ago, is doing well. He's sustained some bumps, some bruises, is going to require some follow-up care, but in all outward appearances will be okay. He is at home recovering with his family at this point in time, but our plea at this point is to ask anyone who may have been in this area last night driving by or heard or had a friend who drives a vehicle similar to what we're looking for. Some key things to look for would be a neighbor who had a vehicle and never parks that vehicle in the garage. Well, now that vehicle is parked in the garage. Or if you see damage to a push bumper. One of the things that we were able to learn from the initial investigation was that vehicle had a full-size or heavy-duty brush guard, brush push bumper type on the front of that vehicle. Clearly that bumper sustained some damage. The individual may be attempting to remove that push bumper. Parts of it may be gone. If you see that, we are urging you to contact the Sheriff's Office at 284-7575 or contacting the Florida Highway Patrol and help us locate that individual.
Which direction were each car going?
The deputy was in the outside lane of Blanding Boulevard headed southbound, when the suspect vehicle was in the turn lane headed north, turning west onto County Road 218. That's when the two collided in the center of the intersection.
Can you confirm the deputy is 40-year-old Matthew Magish, and can you tell us a little bit about the extent of his injuries?
Sergeant Magish is a 15-year veteran with Clay SO. He's a patrol sergeant. His injuries are still being evaluated at this point. I'm sure that he's going to recover long term, but he's going to need some therapy and some extensive recovery period at this point. But otherwise, he's going to be fine.
Anything to the head or spine? Or
no, he'll be okay.
How important is it for this person to be caught?
Well, you know, hit and runs that's not something new. You know, we see those, but when you run into a deputy in the middle of an intersection and you just leave them, what does that say? What would you do to the average citizen? You know, that's not the kind of individual that we want out and about creating chaos in our community. So, you know, fortunately, the good thing for us is the deputy was restrained. He was wearing a seat belt. The vehicle had airbags. The airbags deployed, and that ultimately kept him from sustaining more severe injuries. So if I had to make a praise in this whole situation, wear your seat belts. They save lives. This particular incident is a testament to wearing the seat belt. Wear your seat belt.
And when you leave the scene of an incident like this, it really raises the stakes. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Clearly, you know, this individual will have some answering to do once we ultimately find him or her. You know, there are some measures that we are doing, searching in this area. But you know, the public is very kind-hearted and loving toward their law enforcement here in the county, and that's why we're asking for their assistance at this point to help us find this individual.
Have any witnesses come forward, or do we have maybe any surveillance video of the crash?
Those are things that we are currently exploring with the Highway Patrol. There are some witnesses who were able to give us some pertinent information. Again, that vehicle is going to possibly be a large, full-size Ford F-250 type with a chrome push bumper on the front of that vehicle. That push bumper has probably sustained some damage, and you know, but I wouldn't hone in specifically to that type of vehicle. If you see a Chevrolet vehicle with a large push bumper on it in this Middleburg area, in the Keystone area, in the Fleming Island area, and you suspect something's just not right, contact us. Let us send some deputies out there or troopers to ensure that that vehicle was not involved in this particular incident.
So do you believe this was intentional? Some witnesses have said it looked like there was?
It's hard to say. You don't know if the driver was impaired, if the driver was texting while driving, was distracted. There's a myriad of reasons why the driver pulled out and violated the deputies right away. So those are all portions of the investigation that we're seeking those answers to.
Were there any pieces of evidence left behind from this other vehicle that are helpful to you guys at this point?
Clearly, with any accident, there are portions of vehicles that fall off, that are broken, paint transfer. Those are all things that we look at in these types of investigations.